We got to mix the mission statement with the idea that everything is relevant. Our stand-up is relevant. Living in New York is relevant because it's all how to deal with day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Is that generally it? Yeah. And how the littlest things in the world ruin your whole outlook on life just because of one day when it's really not that big of a deal, but we've got to find a way to deal with our fucking anger, basically.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Power of How. I'm Matt Fulcheron. I'm here with Brennan Tassif,
What's up?
Daniel Torado.
Hey.
Here we are.
Yep.
Rush hour. Everybody had a hell of a commute.
Yeah.
I leave crazy early usually, and I wanted to leave by 5 from my neighborhood, and I was out working on some jokes because my apartment is full of relatives and chickens and pigs and cats and dogs. Inside joke. Hopefully you listen to episode.
Those are not the relatives.
3. Those are not the relatives. They're humans. But then I was like, so then I got back to my apartment, left the apartment at 5:17. I'm like, all right, that's still early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I leave early, is because even when I'm late, it's still early.
That's why I do it too.
Fucking first train stopped
Oh,
in the tunnel.
The G?
Yeah.
God, I hate the G.
Second train never comes. Just never fucking comes. Get off at this stop.
I think
just stuck on the one escalator that's not for 2 people, it's for 1. So
Yeah.
you're just like slowly ascending up to hell.
Because there's the person in front of you never wants to walk. Never, ever.
Yeah, the 18 people ahead of me didn't want to walk.
And my apologies, man, because I know we're doing this at this time, and I didn't think about rush hour, and we're used to doing this at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But this is insane.
Yeah.
Yo, the subway dude was a homeless man sleeping, taking a good 5 seats, I'd say. It hits you, man, that every time you leave your house, every time without fail, it's just, why am I here, man?
Yeah.
Why am I here? Why am I here? What's so great about New York, man? It's like, no, but seriously, it's like, what's so, I don't know. I'm ready. I'm ready to go, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would not mind leaving New York.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, me neither.
Yeah.
Me too. Whatever the expression is.
Right.
I'm ready to get
still
out of
love
here. But he just got here.
Yeah, I just got here.
And but the funny thing is, if you ask me what I like about New York, I say the public transportation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But that's what's giving us the misery today.
Yeah, today was bad. I don't know if I talked about this on the show or not, but I know I mentioned it to you at the party. I am now very conscious of like walking through the subway platform because of what happened with your Was I a Dick on one of our episodes about accidentally knocking over that older woman. So I'm conscious about it. But twice now in the last week, I have missed my train by mere seconds. Like I'm coming down the stairs and I see it like starting to pull away. And so now I've kind of resigned to the fact where I'm like, yeah, that's kind of shitty that Daniel knocked over that old woman, but I'm going to fucking start knocking people over. Like, this is a joke. Like, people are on their phones and they're not moving. And I'm like, fucking go, dude. Like, what are we doing?
The phone's ruined everything.
It's, I'm just going to start moving people.
Everybody's just moseying all around like it's fucking Iowa City.
Well, and then the tourists, too, are so funny because they go, oh, we missed the train. We'll catch the next one.
Right.
There is no next train.
I'm like, I got to fucking get to work.
Yeah.
And it's Saturday, so now the next one's out for 20 minutes.
But you have a car, right?
No,
you don't have. You have a car.
Yeah.
You have a car.
I have a car. I never drive. I just move it twice a week.
Having a car is the best thing in New York City.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's you have your own space.
Oh, yeah, 'cause you do too.
Yeah, because I would never take the car, prior to the pandemic, because I just, I wouldn't want to worry about parking and gas. But now it's like I have my bubble and I can get to the city in my own bubble and I have to face anyone. And it is kind of more expensive, but I'm not getting a pass anymore.
Yeah.
But do you gig? Would you take the car to the gigs or you just take the subway?
No.
I take the car to every
take the subway.
gig.
Yeah.
And parking after 7 is easy.
Yeah. Once the city empties out. Yeah.
I just don't like the stress of traffic before. That's one time where I do leave crazy early.
There's no traffic though. It's 8, 9 o'clock.
It's for me, driving is the most stressful thing on earth. So I just leave crazy early. Today was a fluke.
Right.
I left late.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have sweated it at all. That's why I leave mad early, and I end up a half an hour early to everything.
Yeah.
And then have to take a walk around. But to me, it's much
I'm the
better.
same exact way.
And it's so rude to be it's so rude to be late. It really is, and because every time you're late,
you're basically telling the other person their time is not as valuable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think of it the same way.
And I always tell I give myself a good half hour. It's 20 minutes to get here, but it's just, I feel so disrespectful. But living in New York is amazing because you can always say the subway, the subway, regardless of whether it's working or not. How was your weekend, man? We celebrated your lady's birthday.
Yeah.
That was something.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was amazing.
There. It was hilarious to see you guys
underdressed.
there.
You said
I was
suit.
underdressed.
Matt said suit, so I suited it up.
He said
dress up. Yeah.
Dress up. But
That's what he
we're
said.
comics. I texted him about that. I was like, what does that mean? We're comics. Really? To me, that's a shirt.
If you want to know
like a plaid shirt.
If you want to know what dressing up means, look at my Instagram. Like, I fucking dress up.
Full charge.
Full charge. I said dress up. Brendan says I love wearing a suit.
Yeah.
You came up the stairs with a Canadian expression, I think.
What did I say?
You kept saying, I thought you meant just wear a shirt.
Right.
You kept saying that, wear a shirt. In Canada, does a shirt mean collared shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we thought.
Right.
Because,
I was like, I hope you'd wear a shirt. Absolutely.
I show up in a tank top.
Just no shirt at all. Like, it's a party, right?
I felt underdressed. I felt like I was walking into like a bit of a wedding vibe, people were very well dressed.
Were they? Because I thought it was just me and Brendan for the guys.
Well, for the guys, Kristen's friends were all dressed up.
Kristen's friends don't fuck around.
No.
Yeah.
All
Her
wearing
girlfriends.
heels.
Yeah,
And,
her girlfriends don't. They don't want to look anything short of hot.
Yeah. It's a very pretty party.
You definitely weren't the worst dressed there.
No, I was relieved when I saw that Indiana Jones dude show up.
I call him Cringiana Jones and the Temple of Rude. This guy.
So you know him?
Bizarre.
I don't fucking know him at all.
Oh.
He's the only guy. One of Kristen's friends brought him.
Okay,
and he's a patron of her art. She's a painter.
Wow.
He's a patron.
Okay.
And this guy comes over. And already...
Not a patient.
What?
Not a patient.
He might as well be a patient.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he comes in...
Well, let's explain what Kristen does.
Well, Kristen is an art therapist. Right. So, and a lot of her friends are too. So this dude comes in the door, and I'm already... Just by the way he's dressed... I'm like, what's wrong with this dude?
I had he came in late and nobody, I looked at you and I go, like, do you know him? And you were like, I have no idea. And then one of Kristen's very close friends looks around and she goes, oh, that's probably so-and-so's friend. Because she always brings these random people to parties.
But he stood out because of his hat, his chapeau. That's the only reason had he not had that Indiana Jones hat, he would have really stood out.
Well,
right?
No, I don't know. I think he would have, though.
Yeah, me too.
Because everyone else was kind of dapper and dressed up, and this dude, he looked like he just woke up.
Yeah.
With or without that
Like
hat.
my roommate.
You know what he looked like? He looked like, you ever watched The Big Lebowski? The older Lebowski?
Yeah.
He looked like that guy he looked like the young Big Lebowski. But he wasn't that young. He was like 53.
Yeah.
So he comes in and Kristen's trying to help him get a drink. She's holding up these 2 cans of beer, and he's just looking at him like he can't make the decision. And it's like, dude, just pick a beer.
Yeah.
You can have the second one after.
Yeah, she ended up giving him both. She was just like, all right,
you know you're going to drink 2 beers.
Yeah.
That's all fine and dandy. Then a friend of Kristen's came up to me, like bolted away from him after he was talking to her for about 5 minutes.
This was the part that...
Yeah, this is...
Because I didn't know this part.
No, you were holding court on the other end of the party.
Well, let me tell the audience what the part is. He comes over, she comes over, and she goes, that guy already commented on the fact that I'm Jewish and asked me if I'd do porn. And I'm like... This guy's got to go already.
Yeah.
Like,
I took my suit jacket off. I was like, all right, I guess we're taking him out.
2 things. Like, normally if people are obnoxious or rude, it's just like, all right, let's move away from them. But it's my apartment.
Yeah.
I feel some responsibility. And plus, anytime Brennan's there, I feel a little extra confident that I can kick somebody out of my apartment. Well, I mean, you can hold the door open. All right.
So bang their head on the way out.
Me and Brennan will push him out. And so I'm fucking irate at this guy. A, because like he was rude to my friend, but B, because now I've got a job to do.
Yeah, now you have to deal with it.
All right. So,
But you didn't confront him.
what?
You didn't confront
No, I didn't confront him because I'm not going to confront him until it's time to go.
So you did finally.
Well, here's what happened. This game starts, which I hate games.
Right.
And I've been through these games before, and it was a charades. It was like advanced charades.
Yeah.
And
It's an advanced improv class.
what's your thought process? You're like, I'm in.
Yeah, so I'm hyper competitive. So they said game, and then one of Kristen's friends said it's really hard, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to dominate everyone here." That's my instinct. Is
and
immediately
you did great.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, Brennan's team won.
Hey,
But me and Daniel bolt
dominated.
to the back room.
Yeah, as soon as they say,
Because I was like, I'm going to be a good husband. It's her birthday. I'm going to play the game. As soon as I heard the game started, my body just took my brain into the other room. It was out of my control. I just went into the back room. There was nothing I could
part
do.
was I went to the back room with you because
Yeah.
I know you and I know Kristen pretty well, but I know you
Yeah.
obviously. That's why we're at the party. So I followed you both into the back room, and then and you knew because you know how competitive I am. You looked at me and you go, "Do you want to go play the game?" And I was like, "Yeah, kind of." You go play the game, and
Yeah,
I was
because,
like,
first of all, I want you to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
But second of all, I want you to do what Kristen wants to do.
"Yeah." It was just so funny the way you turn around like an older brother, like, "Do you want to go play?" And I was like, "Yeah, kind of." And you're like, "All right, have at it."
I hope I wasn't rude staying in that room though.
If anyone's rude,
Right.
it's me. I'm the one with responsibility.
No, because you went back in there and you
Eventually, but let's get to that. So you come back in the back room,
Right.
And you just been to war and back. You've just been. So first of all, I'm looking around the party the whole time, and I'm so proud of you guys because you're all mingling. You're both mingling with everybody, and I see Daniel talking to somebody while I'm in the kitchen right before the game starts, and I'm like, look at this dude, just holding court. And I mean, and we don't do surface level stuff. Me and you, we don't make small talk. Me and Daniel got in a conversation about like the fucking Illuminati
Yeah.
and the Freemasons and shit.
right.
Like that's where we're at on small talk.
that was the intro.
And so I see you talking to somebody, and then you come in the back room, and you're like, "Oh, that was a terrible conversation."
Right, but that was not with the Illuminati dude.
I know.
That was a great conversation.
Yeah.
But then I spoke with someone else, and that was special. I'm going to try to keep it as power of how-ish as possible.
Positivity.
Right. Let's keep it upbeat. This is this is weird, right? This is weird because she's Kristen's friend, right? Listen, I have nothing bad to say. We had a conversation. We had a great conversation about music and therapy and all that stuff. And we got into, I don't know how we started talking about, we were talking about art today, how I feel like any old man would say, I don't feel like art is, I feel like we live in a time where we are recycling art, be it music, be it movies, be it fashion, everything is being recycled. There's
I'd
nothing
agree with that. Absolutely.
innovative, right? And I think songwriting is nothing like, I think we spoke about this, but back in the 70s, if you would drive to work, you would literally listen to poetry on the way to work, and on the way back, you listen to like Peter, Paul, and Mary, or whatever. Well, they were high, but but Simon and Garfunkel, or whatever. It would feed your soul. And now, so I spoke about Paul McCartney, right? And I think he's one of the greatest songwriters. And when I said Paul McCartney, I just went, "Oh, Paul McCartney," right?
Yeah.
And then she said, "Well, that's the problem with you white men." And I was like, "What the hell?"
Did you tell her you were half Latino?
No, I didn't say anything. I didn't say I'm trans either.
Right.
But I didn't know what gender and ethnicity had to do with Paul McCartney.
Sure.
I had no clue what she was talking about. And she got very angry. In her defense, she was drunk.
Yeah.
And she apologized.
Oh, okay. That's new.
Yeah, I didn't tell you that part, but it was just so. It was so heated, and I was arguing with clearly a different generation who did not see how television was way better back in the day.
She's your generation.
Well, no, she's not my generation. She's got to be what?
Early 30s.
I thought she was late 20s. But even early, there's got to be like a 10-year gap between her and I.
Okay.
And she thought that music today was just as good as music back then. Everything is as accessible. Yes, it's accessible, but they don't shove it down your throat. You don't see art house films being shoved down your throat on Netflix. You see bubblegum. You watch bubblegum. You listen to bubblegum. There's less melody in music. I think art today, pop art, pop music, pop film,
pop culture,
is specifically made to numb your brain down. Less melody, more monotony in a beat. Boom, boom.
It's
same
also,
repetitive words, and then your brain just gets like mashed up into like mush, literally like your brain melts.
I also don't think it's meant to be listened to for more than like 15 seconds.
What you mean?
Modern day music.
Modern day music. But that's all the kids listen to.
Yeah.
So to me, that's not even an argument. Like even listen, I grew up to listening to 80s and 90s music, but I still think 70s music was doper. Like I still think classic rock, 60s music, there's like a revolution. And then even like I think guitar, like rock died the day they killed the guitar solo. You know, the day they like grunge, I think slowly killed rock.
Now, we've had this argument before, though, and I have to say for the listeners, there are so many guitar solos in grunge music.
Not pop grunge.
Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, even Nirvana, he wasn't even good at soloing, but he still did it.
Right. Yeah.
Still technically. And that's one band. I just named 4 bands.
But would you say that the caliber of soloing would be as high as like Jimi Hendrix and
Jimmy Page? Slash.
Yeah, of course. Like all these guys, Slash came later. But
yes.
No.
Alice in Chains, yes.
And there's nothing.
Soundgarden, yes.
And I'll be fair. I didn't listen to those bands. I was aware of them. I know them. But to me...
Dude, this is just the average white man giving his opinion. I'm so sick of it.
But all this to say, rock just kind of watered down. You know what I mean? It just died out. And
there is no rock anymore.
No, not anymore.
Yeah.
It's dead. It's dead. Even the hip-hop music.
It's like Dave Grohl is still the biggest rock star. He's like 58.
That's true. He just did that big... Crown Royal commercial.
Yeah.
Thanks, Canada.
So it only took him 30 years to sell out. That's amazing. That's right. I still love this guy, by the way.
So what happened, though, after...
Okay.
So you have that argument, and then you guys both end up in the back room.
She was apologetic, and I said it's cool, and I said that she was fascinating because she would challenge everything I would say. And it was very tricky because, listen, it's not my place. It's not my friends. I'm speaking with a stranger. I need to be polite. And I also need to be patient. So I want to listen to her arguments.
Yeah.
So I have all these things socially that are happening in the backside of my head, and yet I still need to prove my point.
Right.
And I don't want to leave, and everyone's going to have like, yo, was he a dick story? Like, because that's what I was afraid of.
That's where I come in.
Yeah, and then we.
But I do want to say, I do want to bring up. I think it was Bill Burr's latest special, where he talks about but white women just pushing racism on the white men.
Oh yeah.
Like that's your shit.
Yeah.
Like a friend of mine's wife was like, and she'd been married before. She was like, "Yeah, you white men, you this, that, and the other." And I was like,
to quote the great Bill Burr, "You're in the hot tub with us."
I told her, I'm like, I'm not the one who married 2 of them. You're the one that loves white men.
He got in trouble or not trouble, but as much trouble as Bill can get into for the SNL thing.
Right.
He basically did that same bit on SNL, and everyone was like outraged, and he's like, "It's fucking true. You're here. Like, what are you talking about?"
Yeah, we can't even speak our minds anymore.
Right. No, but that is funny. Just a hot potato to toss the guys. Not us. You.
Ask any comic. The worst audience members.
So when I'm in that back room
so you came back in
Matt,
there, and my friend Tim is back there, and
that dude shows up.
Huge shout out to Tim.
We're just sitting there talking. You're talking about the
Illuminati,
the conversation you were just in, and he was even like, he's like, yeah, I've had to apologize to her a couple of times. I don't know if you remember that.
No, because see, I didn't know what happened because when he introduced himself to you, can we talk about that?
Who, Tim?
No,
the other guy.
Right.
So the other guy. So Cringiana Jones comes in the room and sits down, and I'm like, God damn it, I hate this guy, and I can't give him an inch because if my friend who he was rude to comes in, and I'm like, we're friends now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to feel good about myself at all. So this guy's never going to be my friend, ever. And he comes in and he sits down, and just in case you didn't think he was creepy, he says, hey, we should all start a cult. This is his fucking opening line. He goes, we should start a cult. And then somehow I'm like, well, Daniel could probably lead a cult. He's got that kind of like skill.
He's got that swagger
and
about him.
then you start, he goes, well, what makes a good cult? And you, like, without hesitation, start explaining what makes a good cult.
Right.
Then you start going into what makes a good cult leader.
Right.
And, like, the way you're talking about cult leaders is that they think on a higher plane. Like, at first, it starts out like all cults start on, like, a higher level of thinking.
Right.
Before they go sour.
Yeah.
And, like, that's what you're telling him. And I go, see? He'd make a good cult leader.
Well, you have to be educated. You have to be charismatic.
Exactly.
Because I'm fascinated by cult leaders because just the idea of having one person just follow you wherever you go and doing whatever you tell them to do. Just getting one person.
Imagine half the country.
Dude.
Imagine
Do you know
half
what
the
I mean?
country. Yeah.
So I think I find it fascinating, but I was very intrigued by him. I didn't have that interaction that you had, or that you knew about.
So then he goes and introduces himself, and Daniel shakes his hand.
All right,
and and then he sticks his hand towards me, and I just went, "Yeah, what's up?"
you went, Matt, and I was like, "That's not Matt. I know Matt. He's a sweetheart."
No, fuck that guy.
But I didn't know.
Not to that
I didn't
guy.
know. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
And then the woman who you were in, not exactly an argument with, she came in and she was like, Matt, will you keep score for the charades?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes,
and
of course, because I didn't want to be in there with Cringiana, and I also wanted to participate in the game without having to participate.
Without
so
having to
now I'm
play.
keeping score. Now I'm involved without having to break a sweat.
And it actually helped because some of the people that were playing, obviously not me, but some of the people that were playing had a few drinks, we're partying, we're celebrating. Right. Sure. So they were kind of getting like, that's the one thing. If we're going to play a game, because I'm competitive, we're going to fucking play the game.
Sure.
Like, don't do this whole, like, half-ass, like, throwing the little chits everywhere and stuff.
And, like, going to do something else.
Yeah, and I'm like, no.
There was a lot of that.
Yeah, I'm like, we're going to play. So it was nice because you came out and you weren't drunk or anything at all. Yeah. So you were very much like, I'm keeping score. And then I was like, thank God, like, someone who's, like, with us.
Yeah.
Because that first round, I was starting to be like, we're not... So I was like, well, I guess we're not playing the game. We're not playing the game because you're throwing chips everywhere. You're walking away like we're not playing the game.
Right.
I love how intense you are with the games because you know what
I was super happy with how intense he was.
I love games, but I need some level of comfort with the people around me. Do you know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what you mean.
I need to know how far I can go.
The second you say we're competing, I'm jump off the ledge.
That's what I don't like about games is they're a competition.
Yeah.
And like, I'm fine. Like you're saying, I'm fine as long as everybody's chill about it.
Right.
But then when you see someone start to win, and then when you feel yourself wanting to win, those are emotions I'm not comfortable with.
Oh, I love it. That's my favorite.
I'm an honorary Canadian. I don't like to win.
But see, I listen, you were in a very delicate spot because I think if it was my place, I would have had that conversation with the guy and told him, like, what just happened with my friend and why did you approach her that way? But at the same time, it is Kristen's birthday.
Is there any explanation for that?
Right.
I just put him up to 2 strikes.
Yeah.
That's it. And I told my friend, I'm like, the second you tell me he's gone, he's gone.
Because you asked, to Matt's credit, Matt asked her. Matt said, do you want us to... he's gone. Like, we'll get him out. Yeah. And that's why I ended up taking my suit jacket off because I was like, all right, let's get him out. Okay. And then she was like, no, it's fine. It's fine. It was just a little weird. And Matt said, and then like Matt said, he goes, as soon as... If anything happens, you let us know he's gone.
The guy's obviously batshit crazy. I can't go over to him and be like, hey, maybe not be so batshit crazy.
Yeah, maybe
like
tone
he's
it down.
officially batshit crazy, and he's officially 2 steps from the door.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no conversation. I'm sorry. There's just not.
Yeah.
He had the conversation. It was a bad conversation.
And now
he's going to
out.
have a long walk home.
Oh, I was ready to. I was amped up.
Oh, yeah, see?
So I didn't realize he went to the back room. I thought he had left.
Yeah.
So I was all amped up after winning the game, just dominating that game in true just killer fashion. And then I saw him walk out of the back room, and I was like, I thought we were getting rid of this guy. Like, let's get him out of here. I was all amped up.
He was missing something. Like, remember, Tim goes, hey, Matt, are those all your book? Are those your books? And I go, no, I left my book in Los Angeles. Right? Fucking banger joke. Everybody's laughing. He's like, he doesn't laugh. He just goes, so you're from Los Angeles? And I was like, that's when Margo came in.
Yeah, he was missing a couple of...
Yeah.
But I had, listen.
But you...
I had a...
What did you guys talk about? Porn? Judaism?
I had an interesting conversation with those guys. I like talking to strangers that I know I'll probably never see again.
Oh, yeah, that's a good interesting
Because you can
way.
get really deep with them, and you can share a lot, and then not worry about ever seeing them again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I kind of said. I said the door was closed. We had another art therapist. We had Tim.
Yeah.
And we had that dude. And I said, all right, let's just talk about some shit that we would never share with anyone else. Like, what's your biggest fear?
But didn't you smoke the devil's weed, too?
In the
small room?
No.
Okay.
No. I was sober, completely sober. I'm
just curious. I don't know.
No, but everyone smoked, I think.
Yeah.
You know, that girl, the other one, she was gone.
Yeah. That's her move.
And it's funny.
Shows up and checks out.
Shows up and invites people.
And that's what I mean. I was having a conversation also with another art therapist, and it was really nice. It was a good conversation until I said, I think the craziest people I've ever met in New York City are therapists and yoga instructors. And then she said, I'm going to go get some ice. And I was like, that's what I mean. I can't even, you can't even crack jokes with strangers. You can't even, you have to like walk on eggshells. And then I hung out with Indiana Jones, and that was fun.
I wish I had a pet snake.
I
hate snakes.
Yeah, and it's weird when you have someone in your own home that you're not vibing with.
Yeah.
That to me...
Oh, I couldn't imagine.
That to me goes out.
That doesn't happen to me often.
Yeah.
That's why I was fucking turned around.
Yeah.
That
is weird. It was a fun party, though. All things considered. I had a great time.
It was a really fun party.
Yeah, I don't get to do that stuff a lot. Yeah,
no, I know.
It was cool. We have a posse now, as you put it.
That's what's good about it. Because I like all those people, but I'm usually just kind of chilling. So it's funny to watch you guys be more social than me. That was amazing.
Oh, yeah. It was...
Well, you drank, right?
A little bit.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Was that your first time after?
No. It only took one trip to Syracuse before I was drinking again.
So how long did you go without drinking?
I went, 31 plus 33 days.
There you go.
Which is a record for me.
Jeez.
That's awesome.
I didn't white knuckle it on February 1st. It took the trip to Syracuse.
Yeah, you weren't even thinking about it.
And I did the first show without a drink, and I was like...
How'd you feel going?
One ain't gonna hurt me. What?
How'd you feel?
I don't feel any kind of anything because I didn't go back to over drinking.
Right.
I just went back to, and it's almost like, it's almost like not drinking at all. You got to buzz for like a half an hour, and then it's just.
Well, it's good to hit that reset too because you build up the tolerance and everything like that. So then all of a sudden you're not getting that same buzz, and then that's what
you got to give everything a break.
Yeah.
You got to give your body a break. Eventually.
I'm still on no coffee.
Really?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How is that going?
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
I didn't realize how dependent I was on coffee. The illusion of, also your body, because you crash. So you're going to need a second one, and a third one, and a fourth one. And
caffeine is incredibly addictive.
It's like alcohol, right? It's like the more you build up endurance, the more you need it.
Yeah.
And I feel so energized. I feel, what's really has changed and shifted my energy tremendously. And we all know this, but we don't do it. But just going to bed early.
Yeah.
I'm so pumped the next day when I make an effort to go to bed by 10:30. My level of enthusiasm, the glow. I remember I went to bed at 10:30 2 days ago. I'm FaceTiming my mom, my wife, and they're like, "You look great. You look amazing."
It's a new filter,
right? And I think it's a combination of no coffee and just just getting some proper rest. Because some people are morning people, and some people are night people, and some people are in between. I think it's 33, 33, and 33, or 25, 25, and 50. And I'm definitely a morning person. I get more creative in the morning. I'm happier in the morning once I get some rest. But if I'm not getting, and it's tough, with the kids.
I was going to say, you're getting up at the same time no matter what.
It's insane. And I get a lot of work done after they go to bed. So I want to be up from, 9 till 12, 1, but then I got to wake up every morning at 6:37.
When I can get in a good groove of going to bed early and waking up early, it's the best.
It's the best, right?
Nothing beats it.
When you can get so much done before lunch, it just makes me so happy. The only problem is I'm an insomniac.
Yeah.
So getting up early, or even going to bed early.
So what do you do when you can't sleep?
I get up, and I don't do like the right thing. Sometimes I read, which is pretty great, but that doesn't work. I still only can fall asleep at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, even if I read. And sometimes I just smoke pot and watch TV. Ooh. And that works just as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I mean, when you get in the cycle of going to bed at 3 and waking up at 10, then you're in that cycle.
That's it, yeah.
And there's not much you can do about it. And even when I have to catch a flight and I'm up at 6:30 or something, I still can't get to bed till 2 or 3 most of the time. Yeah. It's just in these rare occurrences where I do fall asleep early, I do wake up early, and then if I can keep a healthy cycle going, I can get a couple 3-4 days in, and it's really great. It hardly ever lasts. Yeah.
My thing is, we were talking about this. Because I get up pretty early every day because I like to go to the gym in the morning. I am a morning person. As soon as I put my feet on the ground, I'm like, all right, let's go. I don't drink coffee or anything like that, but I do drink a lot of caffeine in my pre-workout and stuff. But the problem that I have is I nap. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll get home from the gym, I'll do stuff around the house, and then before I go into work or before I go to Mike's or before I go to do a set, I will take
nap for?
a 30 minute to an hour nap. So then what ends up happening is I get home 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and I just stare at the ceiling because I'm like, well, now I can't sleep because of that little power nap in the middle of the day.
And it's not just a nap either. When you go out at night and then you come home late,
you're revved up.
You can't just jump in bed.
Yeah.
You gotta hang out for at least an hour.
And then I end up waking up at 7 and I'm dog tired when I get up. Right. And then same thing, by the middle of the day, I'm exhausted. So I take a nap and then the whole cycle starts all over again.
But power naps are very tricky because from my understanding of it is if you overnap, it'll mess you up.
Yeah, it does.
Because power naps
I've done that before.
Yeah, they're supposed to be 15 minutes.
Yep.
So when you go half an hour to an hour, then you won't be able to go to sleep after. And it's also very cultural because in Europe, in Italy, in Spain, everyone has siesta. Everyone takes, all the stores are closed. You want to get something, at a hardware store, to forget it. You're never going to get anything at 2, 3 o'clock. Everything is shut down. Uh-huh. But it's part of the culture to just take it easy. But here's just go, 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 go. And even if you nap, you want to overnap.
Yeah.
And it's such a strange thing we're such in this weird, just the fact of calling it a power nap. It's
right.
so corny.
It takes the rest out of it.
Yeah. It's just a nap.
But your body will do that. Your body, I've noticed because I'm a big napper, the body will let you know. So I'll be listening to a podcast and I'll lay down. I'll be I got to get some rest. And then I will naturally wake up after about 25, 30 minutes. I will naturally just be I'm up. And then I feel fantastic. My problem is if I go, I still have 30 minutes before I have to be up.
Yeah.
And then I go back to bed, my whole day is fucked because then when my alarm goes off, I'm half in REM, half not, and I'm what is happening?
But you know what? The best advice I got, and I got this at the meditation retreat. When you can't sleep at night, the last thing you need to do is to start feeling guilty or anxious because you can't sleep.
Because you're just not going to.
Yeah, because it just worsens the whole thing. Because you're I can't sleep. And so then you get angry. Then you get mad. Then you get upset. Then you start thinking about tomorrow, how your day is going to be ruined. And to just lay there and just accept that you're not falling asleep, and it's cool.
Yeah,
and that vibe is so different than why can't I sleep?
Yeah.
You're tossing and turning. You get up, you go back, you read. You know it doesn't serve you.
That's what I've started doing. And another thing I'll do is I won't look at a clock.
Right.
If I'm worried about it.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
you definitely don't want to get on your phone if you can't sleep.
Yeah.
That is the absolute
Yeah, the light,
worst.
man. The light.
The light and just the scatterbrain of I'm gonna think of this, so I'm gonna look up this. I'm gonna think of this, so I'm gonna look up this. It just, and next thing you know, you're someone's insulting you on Twitter, and like now you're trying to sleep with that bullshit, ping ponging around your cranium.
I think the key is to just not judge yourself and be okay with not sleep, because the whole point of sleeping is resting, and you could rest while you're awake.
Yeah.
When you meditate, you're resting your mind. So as long as you lie down and your mind is not overworking, and if you want to meditate or breathe or whatever you want to do, and you're not having your mind work too much, then you're still getting that rest.
I did that last night. I went to bed at midnight, and I kind of, not exactly meditated, but it's similar to meditate. I just stared at the ceiling, and every time I had a thought, I went back to the ceiling, and I fell asleep.
Well, that's a form of meditation. For sure,
exactly.
yeah.
And then I woke up at fucking 3:30 a.m.
Oh.
I woke up at fucking 3:30.
The ceiling was still there.
I got up, I did the dishes. I was productive for once.
Right.
I did the dishes and went back to bed, and I fell asleep all right. But
yeah, I don't think we realize how important sleep is. We neglect
the most
it.
important.
We neglect
it's the
it.
least valued in our society.
And
There's so many studies too about Alzheimer's and dementia and all this stuff that's linked to lack of sleep.
We had a doctor at the party.
Yeah.
And he came in, and this is before you guys got there, and we just started talking about that very thing.
Yeah.
Dementia. And I told him, I don't care. I can't wait till I don't know who I am anymore. I am so tired of these thoughts that keep me from sleeping, ironically.
Yo, I already had this is gonna go somewhere else, but did you guys ever experience like out of body experiences? Did you ever have that?
When I'm bombing?
No, when not while resting or sleeping. You never had that? You never had like a
No, I get sleep paralysis.
You've heard
and
about
that kind
this,
of
right?
stuff. Yeah, but I've never had an out of body experience. No, I don't think I ever have.
So this is pretty insane, and believe me or not, but I have an uncle who, when I was a kid, he would tell me like, yeah, I could get out of my body and travel. And I'm like, whatever, you know? And he's like, no, I could really do it. I could go visit you while you're sleeping. I could tell you what pajamas you're wearing. I was like, 'cause I'm wearing them now. What are you talking about? And he's like, I could really do this. And then he started to explain to me how he does it. And when I was raised by my grandmother, and when she passed away, I was 11. And my uncle lived with my grandmother. And so they lived in an apartment, and when she passed away, he was alone the first night, and he was asleep, and he started hearing footsteps, and they're walking towards him, and they stop right behind him, and he turns around, and he says that he saw his mother, but only the legs. He didn't have it in him to look at her face because he was terrified. So he stormed out of bed. He got in his car. He came over at our place at 4:00 in the morning, and he slept on the couch for a few days. Yeah, and then he started telling me about his experiences and how to get out of your body. He taught me how to get out of your body. So I thought it was kind of bullshit, but it was fascinating. I was fascinated. I'm a kid, but then I started reading up on it on OEMs. What are they called? Out of body experiences, OBEs, and he explains very clearly. There's three phases when you're sleeping. You're awake, and then you're asleep. Those are the two like main phases. But then there's like an alpha phase, a middle phase where you're falling asleep. And that little transitional period is like a gate for you to leave. Mm-hmm. And it's a very, very hard gate to step into because you have to be falling asleep, but be fully aware that you're falling asleep. And I'll give you a perfect example. Like, let's say, have you ever been like you're falling asleep on a couch or a family party, and then you know people are around you, you know they're talking, you have no idea what they're talking about, you can't make any sense of it, but you know they're present, but you have no idea what they're saying because you're falling asleep. Mm-hmm. So that moment is that little alpha phase where you can leave. And if you are capable of fully being aware of that moment, and you will yourself to leave your body, and I don't know what to call. I don't know what it is. I don't know if you could call it spirit or energy. I have no clue. But if you will your mind to just leave, it is the most terrifying and exciting thing you can experience.
So you've done this, and where do you go?
I've done this many times. I've done this not many times. I've done this maybe 4 times.
That's many. That's because I've never done it.
That's multiple times.
Multiple times. So the first time I did it, I was kind of like obsessed with it because my grandmother passed away. My uncle kept talking to me about it. He gave me a book on Buddhism and traveling, how you can travel out of your body, how Buddhist monks do that. And it was so far fetched, but I wanted to try it. So I'm in bed, and I start feeling, it's like as though my body lying down starts like levitating, and I see myself, I feel myself at a higher level, and I could see the room. I could see where I left my sock on the floor. I could see where I left my books, my pen. It was clear. And the further you go out, the further you venture out, the more terrified you are because you are clearly not in your body. And yet
That's trippy.
It is so exciting, but terrifying. Because
how far did you get?
I stopped at
the mailbox.
No, because my uncle told me another story. He told me that when you're in that realm, it's like the real world. There's good people and there's bad people, and sometimes you're surrounded by what he calls good spirits or bad spirits. So once he was traveling, and he would travel often. I'm not kidding. It sounds trippy, but so he would travel often.
No, I mean, before we started, nuts. Brendan said he had a bombshell. But this is a fucking bombshell. Yeah. Your uncle. So he would. So listen to this. Where'd he go?
So he traveled.
Is he here?
And we should call him Piotrek. Once he would navigate around his apartment, and then once he came back to his bedroom and he saw like this dark shadow sit on his bed. And he was terrified. And for years, he would just sleep with his lights on. And again, that night, I remember he came over to our place. And he said to be careful. So having that in mind, I would always be afraid. Uh-huh. Now, what I would do when I was a kid in college, when I would study for a test, I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and start studying at 4. I'd go to bed early, but wake up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. So when I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm exhausted because it's 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So I would snooze, but I know I have to get up because I have to study for the test. So my brain is hyper alert that I need to stay up and be aware, but the other part of my brain is like, I just got to sleep 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it was so easy to tap into that little phase.
Right.
Because I was like dancing. I was like, fully aware, but I needed to sleep. And then I would venture out. And I couldn't move. It's kind of like you're a baby where, babies can't move yet. So when you first leave, you're kind of paralyzed. You could just kind of float up, but I can't go through walls or I can't
that
fly.
Happens to me.
Or with that. What?
Because of, and I don't mean to interrupt, but that, as you were explaining it, I was like, I do that all the time, is that paralysis kind of thing where my alarm goes off. And because, like I said, because I take naps during the day, right. A lot of times I'm incredibly conscious that I have to be up to get to work. But also my body is so exhausted because I didn't get very much sleep that I live in that weird space of like, and also because of my tinnitus and my TBIs, I sleep with headphones in. So it's weird that you said that family party thing, because I will be like, aware of what I'm listening to, and I can hear the podcast I'm listening to, but my brain is also like trying to shut down.
Right.
So I've never gone out of my body, but I live in that weird like paralysis state when I sleep.
And well, because you're probably never aware of it.
Yeah, because like I'm aware that I'm listening to
aware
something,
of wanting to leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I'm going to try that now. I'm going to try and get out.
So did you ever meet the shadow?
No, I never met a shadow, but it was a defining moment in my life when I clearly understood there's more to life than this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, like whatever when you
Let's
start,
hope so.
when you,
I mean, that's how we got here.
and when you read up on it, they suggest, because there's a lot of literature on all this. They say to never look at your body because it's terrifying. You might get some form of shock to see yourself almost dead. Because you see yourself.
Yeah, your spirit's gone.
So I never tried to look back, or I would just test my limits of how far can I go this time, and I go a little further, and it's so exciting, but it's so terrifying. And I think the greatest fear is death. Will I ever come back?
Yeah. And
so you're just kind of like, let's do this. Let's see how far I can go, and then fear always wins, and and to pull yourself back. Because when you start really going a little further, you need to like your body needs to, you need to shock your own body physically for you to come back. And it's
I've experienced that. I think a lot of people have.
when
You're someplace and you're not really trying to go to bed, like at a party,
Right.
like you're talking about,
Right.
and you just
The subway.
You jolt back to life.
Yeah.
That happens to me on the subway.
right.
When I like doze off, I'm like, whoa, what are you doing?
When
like,
I'm
you
going
can't.
75 miles an hour down the road in a car.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm so happy I got to experience this, but I really believe that if you try it and you get to be aware of that little,
I'm going to try it.
But you just try to will yourself.
I have a hard enough time sleeping.
Right. Hey, man.
No, but that like what you're talking about. So I'm sort of experienced stuff like that. You know,
How so?
I just mean I've been in places where it's not quite dreaming, but I'm not asleep, but I'm dreaming. But I haven't ventured out into the world.
The spirit thing makes a lot of sense to me because some of my most memorable and terrifying nightmares are the paralysis ones where I'm like in my room, but I'm like not asleep, but I know I'm asleep.
Right.
And then there's like some like evil like thing like coming after me in my own room. So I always thought, oh, that was a weird nightmare. And I could not wake myself up. Come to find out now talking to Daniel, those are evil spirits that were in my room trying to fuck with me.
No, but that's common, right? Like
The sleep paralysis thing. Yeah, that's real
Very
common.
Yeah. And you get palpitations. And that's what's terrifying because your heart starts beating really, really fast. And you're like, you keep thinking, can I die? Will I? You know?
I'm glad we're recording this right before we're all going to go to bed soon.
Right. But
when I used to have, before I got my blood pressure under control, I would, and I think this is just, there's a name for it that a lot of people have. They wear the masks and everything.
Oh, sleep apnea.
Yeah, I would wake up out of breath.
Yeah, you can't breathe.
And like that happened to me like quite a bit when I was overweight and I was not on blood pressure medication.
Just not breathing.
Yeah, you wake up and like and just, you know, back when I was drinking heavily and
when
stuff
I sleep
like
on
that.
my back, that happens.
Yeah. Doesn't happen to me anymore.
do you guys have recurring dreams ever, or
All of them.
Yeah.
like specifically?
Yeah. Almost all my dreams are lucid and recurring. I always end up in the
What's
same
like a main
place.
theme or?
I always end up on a plane or a bridge and it's going up, but it's like going up at such a steep angle that I'm like going to fall. Same thing in planes. That's why I hate heights. I hate anything elevated. So I have that recurring dream like once or twice a week.
I always have a dream that I'm in college, but I forgot to drop a class.
That's a big one. Yeah.
And now I got all this fucking work to do because it's too late to drop the class. And I haven't been going to class. That's just about success.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
That's just about like, oh shit, I'm behind.
Isn't it strange how almost like college almost causes PTSD? Because for years after college, I would have nightmares about not finishing a paper, about being late on a paper, or
missing a test or something.
No, this is like years after college.
I think that's one of the first times for most people where they're in charge of their own self-discipline. And there's nobody telling them, hey, you got to do your homework now. Right. It's 3:00.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so you have to do it all on your own, and it might be more than you're used to. And then you got all these, instead of parents, you have friends getting you into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can get behind on it. I don't know. I think that's maybe it.
That has to have a lot to do with it.
I mean, that never actually happened to me in college, where I forgot to drop a class.
Yeah.
This is just a dream I have.
I used to load up on classes because then they'd give you a little extra student loan money. And then I would wait. And then instead of dropping them, because then you have to pay the money back, I would wait until before the midterm, and then you could withdraw, where you only had to pay half the money back.
See, that's even more stressful.
Yeah.
So you really got to drop that class.
But hey, they would give me that student loan money, and I'd end up with half that money. What's up?
Yeah.
I took calculus one time when I had no business taking calculus.
Why would you do that?
It wasn't part of my major or anything. I was like, I got to take another math. I'll take fucking aerospace engineering.
The hardest math.
See, I would get the easiest classes, like the art of listening, just to like up my GPA.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. You know, you just listen to music, and that's the class. I had a teacher once. We were studying. It was a class on Gertrude Stein, and the whole class was on Gertrude Stein, and she was so amazingly out of her mind, this teacher, that she said, for your final, this is like, I think it was like, it counted for probably 33% of the grade. She said, do whatever Gertrude inspires you to do. God. Some people baked a cake. I'm not even kidding. I wrote a poem.
All the girls came back as lesbians.
And then she said, well, you need to explain the poem. I was like, I put so much energy into this poem that it's self-explanatory. And she said, okay. Everyone aced the class.
Yeah.
And she got fired.
One guy just got a 33%.
That's all he did.
But
she inspired me to do nothing.
But talk about like not having anxiety. I don't know. There's just so much more to all this fucking bullshit, you know. All this daily, you know.
That's what we're caught up in.
You know, it is. That's what's amazing about, you know, like I have a wife and kids, but like Buddha had a wife and a kid. Not a lot of people know this.
Right.
And he left them. Like nobody knows that he left his wife and his kid in pursuit of happiness, like, which is insane when you think about it.
It was part of the world, right?
It's like, I want to be happy, and I just don't see you guys in the picture.
Wow.
And the sacrifice was to sit underneath a tree for, I don't know, over 40 days, not knowing. It was in pursuit of it. It's not even as though he was guaranteed happiness. He said, I will sit underneath this tree. I don't care if my bones collapse. I'll starve to death. I'll piss. I'll shit myself. But I will sit here until I find happiness. And that seemed like a better option than staying with his family and not being a deadbeat.
Well, you know
dad.
what, the better book is just like fly on the wall shit with his in-laws talking shit about him. Like, and then he just goes and sits under a tree.
Right.
He'd rather do that.
What a piece of shit.
Than raise my grandkids.
But it's amazing. It's amazing to and it's so cool that he, like, Buddha never started Buddhism. You know, there's no such thing. He was just like a teacher.
Right.
He just taught.
Just like Jesus didn't start Christianity.
Yeah.
And he didn't even get married.
Right.
He's like, I'm going straight to hanging in the desert.
I had a thing with Mary Magdalene.
With my whore friends.
Right. But yeah, I just think we get caught up in all this bullshit.
We know we do.
We know.
But there's nothing we can do about it.
We can't. No. There 100% there is something you can do about it, man. As long as we stay aware that it's fucking bullshit, as long as we keep knowing that it's when we fall into the trap of thinking that all this matters.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And all I'm saying is you still have to do the bullshit.
Yeah, but you have to do the bullshit. But
you have to realize what it is.
Yeah, but how are you going to do it? With what energy are you doing the bullshit? What energy are you putting behind the bullshit? Are you letting it kill you inside, or are you going to dance with it? You know what I mean?
There's another option?
Oh, yeah, right.
Dance when you do the dishes, baby. We talked about that last week.
Doing the dishes, right.
I slept after I did the dishes.
Right.
That's a compromise.
And it's work. It's like we put work into our bodies, into our minds, but we never take That's what's so cool about meditating is like you take time for yourself. It's like we talked about paying ourselves. You know, like the first person you must pay is yourself, but the first person you need to hang out with is yourself.
And that's really hard to accept as an American, even just like 10, 15 minutes to yourself.
Yeah, we talked about that last week when we were talking about the scheduling time for myself, because a lot of people are like, "Are you out of your fucking mind?"
To have the to-do list that's 8 notebooks long, and then to take 15 minutes, but what you don't realize is you can't really do.
Yeah, you can't do the other stuff without
unless you reset.
Can't do one without the other.
Yeah,
and there's such a difference between like loneliness and aloneness.
Yeah,
because when you're alone and you just feel lonely, you live in lack. You live in a void. Something's missing. But to live in aloneness is to just really be happy with yourself and being alone.
That one's easy for me. Like I don't really get lonely, and I don't really get bored.
Yeah, I'm fine being by myself.
No problem.
But I feel like most New Yorkers really feel a sense of loneliness.
Yeah, lonely surrounded by people.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's why they get dogs.
True. So you want to talk about your bombshell, or do you want to save it for another day? Well, thanks for listening to The Power of How. We're going to go get our lives together, even though it is, in fact, bullshit.
Pointless.
Thanks, guys.
See you later.
Thanks for listening to The Power of How. Music by Daniel Torado, artwork by Nelson Diaz. Follow us on all the social medias at The Power of How Podcast. Rate, review, and subscribe, and check us out at patreon.com/The Power of How Podcast. Send us some positive vibes in the form of U.S. currency. See you next week, everybody.